Welcome to Discussing Dad Life, where we break down bullshit so you don't have to. I'm Void, this is No, and let's go.
Welcome to Main Event Mondays. Today we're just going to kind of give an update. The only major thing that happened last week is, I guess lots of stuff is major, so I guess it depends on your interpretation. But let's start with the Biden administration's response to the Houthi attacks. The U.S. and UK went ahead and did a military strike. I think it was 100 bombs or so, attacking Houthi and Iranian Guard facilities in Syria and Iraq. So it's just another escalation in the Middle East, which is interesting because we were in there for 20-some years in Afghanistan and Iraq, and then we had that horrendous withdrawal from Biden. And some people won't even say it's a withdrawal. It wasn't a withdrawal. It was a surrender. We basically surrendered a lot of gear, and then we abandoned the allies that were helping us there. So Biden has failed miserably in the Middle East. Yeah. I mean, there's not much more to say on that other than the fact that this is not shaping up to be very well. This could be the start of a much larger conflict. You got Syria in play, you got Iraq in play, you got Iran in play, you got Yemen, you got Saudi Arabia. Then there's the turmoil going on in Israel with the Hezbollah and in the terror attacks that were perpetrated by them on October 4th, October 7th. You remember? I can't remember the exact date now. I think it was the 7th. Moving on to more domestic news. We covered this last week a little bit, that the Texas is basically telling the federal government to piss off. That they've abdicated their duty, so we are going to go ahead and secure our own border. Looks like there was a report put out there about $155 million Texas has spent on just shipping the migrants to the sanctuary cities, the ones that claim that, if you come here, we will protect you and provide for you. Those cities are not doing so well. Eric Adams, mayor of New York, just went ahead and it's about $53 million over the next 5 years or something like that he's going to be giving the illegal immigrants to help them. So this is a huge problem. The American taxpayer cannot afford this. We're already in debt. The country's already in debt at the largest amount that we've ever been in. The Fed just keeps printing money, and we just think that it's going to go on infinitely, and it's not. I get and understand and respect the plight of people wanting to come to the U.S. because the U.S. has been a shining beacon in the world in the economic sense. But unchecked mass illegal immigration does not help the United States, and it does not help the people that are actually trying to come to the United States. Now, while I say that, there is also a mechanism that we need to fix, which is the legal immigration process. What the United States government has in place is beyond slow, beyond repair. It just needs to get revamped completely. And we also need to start enforcing our laws. I'm getting really sick of hearing the Democrats in Congress saying that they're asylee seekers. They're not asylee seekers. Most of these people are not fleeing from something. They are migrant workers, basically. And the simple fact is, whenever they cross into the United States without having a legal visa or a green card or an approved application for asylum, in the cases that there are, they are breaking the law. And us allowing them in and then giving them a court date that they may or may not come to, it puts a burden on our judicial system. It puts a burden on the taxpayer. It puts a burden on all of our systems, our infrastructures. You can read the reports out of Chicago where they're actually taking kids and putting them back in virtual learning so that way the schools can house illegal immigrants. So your taxpayer dollars are paying for the kids to go to school to learn, to get an education, yet the government says, oh, well, your education is not as important as housing these people. But if we were to actually close our border and let them stay in the countries they're at and then do the process legally, we would be able to handle both sides, right? So it's a little frustrating. Quick news on that is there was 14 Republican governors. The Brad Little from Idaho was actually supposed to be going down to the southern border. I do believe they're going to be doing a news conference this afternoon, Sunday afternoon. This is being recorded on Sunday, so they're going to be doing that Sunday afternoon. So you guys probably have already seen that by the time you watch this. The Democrat Congress people went to the border, and they even say it's broken. But in their eyes, it's broken that it's not open enough. And so they're trying to push their own agenda, which is more or less trying to put funding into helping facilitate the movement of these criminals, basically. The argument that these are people fleeing, like, disastrous times is not accurate. Most of the time, it's actually, if I remember the reporting correctly, it's about a 73% are single males within fighting age. Well, actually, speaking of this is actually interesting. There is another report, unconfirmed so far, as far as I know. I haven't seen any, but there is a report that they're actually starting to recruit, because our recruiting numbers in the military have been so drastically low because the Biden administration has basically gone woke and broke our military. So they're not attracting the people that they normally would attract. So they're actually supposedly allowing these illegal immigrants to come in and join boot camp and basically go into the armed forces. Now, I think that should be a path for citizenship, personally. I think that if there's people in another country that and we have a quota to meet and we're not meeting it, and there's some people in, let's say, Honduras that want to join our military in order to move to immigrate to the United States, I think that should be a legal path. I don't disagree with that. The problem is we are allowing a criminal to illegally cross our border, and then without giving them any ramifications for breaking the law, saying, oh, we're going to go ahead and put you in the military, right? You see where there's the disconnect. So 14 governors at the border. Democrats are also saying the border's broke. We have the big one is Ron DeSantis has sent the Florida National Guard and the Florida State Guard to Texas to help them out. There is a bill, I believe, in the Senate or in Congress that is actually looking to legalize or authorize use of deadly force in order to repel people from the border. I think that's absolutely insane for the most part. However, I kind of understand why they're wanting to do this, because there are some armed individuals. I don't have numbers, but you can go online. You can actually see the photos of guys walking through the river carrying a rifle. So we do have armed people in the process of committing a crime by entering the United States, coming across the border. So while I think it might be a little more of a step in towards civil war, it's hard. We're in a very hard position. I mean, we have two different, very, very different views on how this nation should be ran. You have, on one hand, people that want legal immigration to happen, but they get demonized and say that they don't want any immigration. That's just not true. I'm sure there's some people that don't want any immigration. I'm sure there, just like there are these wacko people that have these really weird beliefs. They don't make up the majority, right? So we need to kind of tone down the rhetoric a little bit, I think. Otherwise, we are going into a very precarious spot. But I will say it is hilarious that it is Texas. I mean, Texas is the one kind of leading the map on this, or leading the path on this. So it's yeah, the border is a huge problem. I hope you guys are paying attention to it. I'm wondering. Let me know. Do you guys think that this is the number one issue going into 2024? I personally think it's the number one issue. Unchecked, unfettered mass immigration that we're seeing right now is being disastrous for the United States, for the major cities, for the rural counties. I mean, there's reports of it's not even about the United States as well. It's actually about these people that are trying to cross. I mean, how many reports I've seen reports of farmers, ranchers down there finding bodies on their property because they died of dehydration or died of exhaustion because they're trying to get into the country illegally. Joe Biden's policies are killing these people because he is basically saying if you make it to the United States, you will be welcome in. So they're taking these extremely harsh risks and putting themselves and their children in danger. Now, when I say that they're mostly middle or young men that are trying to come in, which the reports show that that's accurate, that doesn't mean that there isn't women and children trying to come in. So we have people dying at the border. We have fentanyl just pouring over the southern border. We have drugs. The cartels are making, I think they're making like, what was the report? I think it was like $32 million a month or something like that just from facilitating human trafficking across the border. And part of what goes on in that process is actually the treatment of the women, the treatment of the children. I mean, these people are being brought into the United States to be sold into the sex trade, basically, which is not cool. None of this is what's going on the border is cool. And Joe Biden's policies, his administration's policies, are promoting death and mayhem, not just inside the United States, but also for these people that are trying to get into it. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. That's kind of what I want to say. I would like to know what you guys think. I personally think it's the number one issue. I'm going to be voting for someone that actually wants to secure the border and actually prevent a humanitarian crisis or end this humanitarian crisis, because we are in one. Moving on, we have Nikki Haley, who's still in the Republican primary, and she's probably not going to drop out until after South Carolina. However, I did just read a report where she is saying that she's going to stay on even if she doesn't perform or win in South Carolina. Just as long as she proves that she has made gains, she's going to stay on. So polling out of South Carolina does not suggest that she's going to actually perform well, which is sad because that is her home state. If she loses South Carolina, she should just bow out. Even if she gains just a little bit of traction, she should bow out. All she's doing is fracturing and making Donald Trump spend money against her rather than, letting him focus on getting Biden out of the office. And the sad part is, I was talking with my mom this weekend, and we were both in agreement that neither Biden nor Trump should be running. I personally think Trump's a little too old for the job. However, if I am stuck between those two choices, obviously the choice is Donald Trump. Yeah. So the Republican primary, next real big step is the 24th, I believe it is the 24th of February is the South Carolina primary, I believe. And that's kind of the next big hurdle. Next one after that's going to be Super Tuesday. Interesting to see whether or not Nikki Haley stays around till Super Tuesday. I really thinking she needs to drop out. I mean, but she's obviously she's in bag for the Democrats. The Democrats definitely want her. And I heard a interesting theory that Joe Biden's not popular. His approval rating right now, I think, is like somewhere around 36-37%, something like that. He's just widely unpopular. And because he is so unpopular, the fear is Donald Trump's going to get in. So the establishment, right? Because the establishment really runs all. We can sit here and say Democrats and Republicans all day. Republicans are just Democrats for the most part. You have a few really good ones. But Nikki Haley or Nikki Hillary, is an establishment choice. She is a warmonger. She does want death and destruction, particularly in the Middle East. She wants war, and that is to fill their coffers, basically. You know, she is not a good person when it comes to foreign policy, which is insane because she actually did a decent job when she was the ambassador of the UN. She stood up for America's interests. Granted, she was doing that at the behest of this is what Donald Trump's agenda was. So it could have just been Donald Trump's agenda was the right agenda, and she just had to go along with it because he appointed her. I don't necessarily know if that's true or not, but that makes logical sense because her policy positions in this day and age right now completely different than when she was the UN ambassador. And then lastly, we have what was it? We covered the Middle East. We covered Nikki Haley. We covered the Trump and border. Yeah, those were the 3 items that I wanted to hit today. Sorry, I thought I had 4, but I only have 3. My mind is not working right, and I did not write it down like I was planning on doing, so I apologize, guys. I do want to give a reminder to everyone that on the what was it? On the 25th, we were going to do a giveaway. I am actually going to be out of town. I have some things I need to take care of. So we're not going to be doing the giveaway on the 25th. What I'm actually going to do is we are going to do the giveaway on the either the 11th or the 18th. Let's do the 11th. So next Sunday we'll do the giveaway. So basically anyone that's subscribed to our channel and your profile is public, I will pull all the names down and we'll do a random generator, and that's how we're going to do it. We'll do a live stream. Moo's going to be joining me to do this. That's why I'm trying to figure out when we're going to do it, because she's not with me every weekend. So we'll either do it. We'll more than likely do it the 11th. I'll talk with her and make sure that we want to do it then. But yeah, so if you're subscribed to the channel, you're going to get entered to win. We'll do a live stream. We'll announce it. And then when you see your name called, just email our email. Let us know who you are. And then we will figure out all the logistics on getting you your prize. Perfect. All right. Well, I think we're going to end it there, guys. Tune in on Wednesday. I want to actually talk about some financial aspects on things we can do to kind of deal or weather this economic storm. So tune in Wednesday. We'll talk about a little bit of financing and making sure that we're budgeting properly and what steps we need to take going forward. We have a lot of turmoil in the United States with the economic sense. This is the first time in the history of the U.S. where the generation can't afford to move out, can't afford to start their life. We started seeing this with millennials, not as much, but we did start seeing, people staying in their mom's basement until they're 25, 27, 30 years old. And nowadays it's commonplace. It is almost unfathomable that a person, when they hit 18, can step out of their parents' house. So let's talk a little bit about finances and see what we can do. So tune in Wednesday. Till then, peace. Thank you for watching. Please give us a like, share, and subscribe. Till then, peace.